Hey all, ex-art student here. I'm an artist located in Connecticut, and I like painting and illustrating. But today, I am taking on a challenge where I'm going to try to paint the 6 sides of a Rubik's Cube as a 30th birthday present. I've never painted a Rubik's Cube, so let's just jump right into it and start with the planning. My brother-in-law loves Cyberpunk, and I thought it'd be fun to paint different scenes from the anime on each side. These are the ones I settled on, and my husband helped me pick it out as well. I'm sketching them all out using a paint marker and just trying to plan the composition. Normally for a birthday, we would just buy something online like everyone else does, but my sister was saying he would prefer something handmade over something bought, and we're like, well, since it's a big birthday, let me paint something really cool. Also, he loves Rubik's Cubes, so why not make a custom one for him? I didn't screenshot these. I used my phone and took pictures of the anime. I went through each episode and tried finding dynamic poses or dynamic scenes, so then I could have fun with painting this as well as have important stuff on the Rubik's Cube. What I'm painting here is actually one of the title scenes, so this is not my art. None of it is, besides my hand with the paint. It's just fan art of different scenes from this anime and hopefully a cool gift for my brother-in-law. Luckily with this art style, it's very one color, not a ton of shading that's complicated, and a lot of the colors are prismatic, so it's easy to do color matching. In some of the future scenes that I'll be painting, trying to match the purples and the yellows were kind of hard, but most of the time I was able to figure it out, and I really enjoyed painting each side. Don't get me wrong, I was not confident going into this. I was actually pretty worried because I've never done it and I avoided it for quite a bit of time until I did not have any more time left, so I had to try doing it. And some days it worked out, some days I had to take a big old break away from it. Side note, there are spoilers on this Rubik's Cube, so if you have not watched it and want to, maybe watch it first, then watch this video after. And here I'm painting a scene of Lucy taking David throughout the city, and I just loved how the silhouettes looked. Even though you can see some color coming through, I just tried finding really interesting poses and important scenes to the story. There are many ways I could have approached this, but I figured the more impactful scenes, as well as interesting to me to paint, that also showed the love story, would be better for this Rubik's Cube. I mean, I could be wrong, but I like how it turned out. And just to tune back into this painting, trying to paint these silhouettes was hard. I kept making them look too chunky, or the foot looked weird in a certain area on David. Lucy's leg was too thick. Eventually I was able to thin it down or get the shapes that I wanted, and I was happy with it, because I just had to think it's not supposed to be one-to-one accurate, and I'm also painting on a really, really small scale. So as long as I get the idea of it onto the Rubik's Cube, that's what matters. Next scene, we have David saving Lucy from being captured, and he also had his body fused with the cyber skeleton machine thing, so he's kind of just barely there as a person, and he's mainly machine. This is when they're falling through the air and Lucy's just holding his face like, you weren't supposed to save me. He's like, there's nothing else for me to live for, I need to save you. Not in those exact words, but that's the gist of it. And I loved the colors in this scene, but also in general, it's a very sad, impactful scene. But as an artist trying to color match these colors, it was horrible. Mainly Lucy's skin / hair. I just couldn't get those gray, blue, light colors correct. So I had to do many iterations of that color, many layers until it looked close to the reference picture. Something I did enjoy with painting this art style is that it is like a traditional cartoon where there's usually a black outline or a darker color outline. So it helped clean up my edges, really get the characters' features where they need to be, and show, I guess, a bit of contrast between one object from another. Another thing I love with this art / style / whole show, there's a lot of bright prismatic colors from neon lights, and it works so well on top of the blues and purples that you see in this scene. The good thing with working off of a reference is you don't have to think. I mean, you do have to think to figure out what colors work where and how to match it, but you don't have to think of composition, you don't have to think of character expressions, you just have to think, okay, let me copy exactly what's there and try my best. Next scene I'm painting is when David gets the spinal implant put in his body. It basically alters your body to be stronger and quicker, and I'm pretty sure he just found it and asked some like black market kind of guy under the counter to put it in his body. This actually happens early on in the show, and I honestly just picked the scenes that I wanted to paint first, and then whatever scene was drying on the Rubik's Cube, I just moved it over so then it would still have time to dry while I was painting the next scene. I liked how this turned out. I liked the bold black with the yellow, and it was fun painting those little things on the spinal cord. I don't really remember what was happening in this scene, but I know that Lucy put her head on David's shoulder and they were just looking at the city. Maybe they were hopeless about their predicament in the city, but it was just a beautiful scene and I wanted to try to paint it. Also, it's nice seeing David and Lucy show each other affection. For me personally, I didn't really like this yellow for the background, but it's what the scene called for. And surprisingly, it was easy to ombre the darker yellow on top. And it did go well with the blue light beams, I think, going up throughout the city. Also, if you haven't caught on, I am not a Cyberpunk expert. I just watched it once a while ago and I liked it. I'm just trying to make a cool gift for my brother-in-law. For my brushes, I stuck to a 4/0, or maybe it's 0/4, and a 1, and the company is Golden Maple, if you're interested. Honestly, I just picked the tiny brush for the tiny details. I used the slightly bigger brush to do color blocking. Next scene is the scene that you'll always see for purchase when you see different gifts for Cyberpunk. It's when Lucy and David are, I think, on a simulation where they're sitting on the moon looking at the Earth, and they were basically talking about how they wanted to be there one day. It's like a cutesy love scene and something that Lucy looks back on with David when he's basically about to die towards the end of the show. And I thought it'd be nice to paint. Honestly, doing the rock floor was challenging for me. I kept painting over and over again and it just didn't look right. Even though it's kind of basic, just light gray, medium gray, dark gray, I had to do it over and over again until it was something that I liked. And then I moved on to the Earth. I liked doing all the clouds and eventually faded some of the colors together so it didn't look too painterly, I guess. I wanted it to kind of look realistic but not realistic, just closer to the actual scene. Painting the characters as well actually was tough. I think because they were kind of in the cracks of the Rubik's Cube, it was hard to get those details. It was also hard because they were so tiny and I kept messing up the different shapes. It's not supposed to be perfect, it's just supposed to give the essence of the characters. I just had to keep telling myself that because it was hard to accept it. The painting was done, now it's time to seal it. I used this spray and it didn't really turn out the way I wanted, so I wound up using UV resin and painting on each individual square, then hitting it with the light in order to harden it, and it gave it a nice roundish texture on each of those squares, and I felt like it was truly protected. The Rubik's Cube is finished. Let's take a look at those close-up shots. Now that's a cool gift. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Obviously it's not perfect, but I think my brother-in-law would love it. So that's all that matters. Check me out on all social media. I have a sale going on, and I'll see you next week. Thanks guys. Have a good day. Bye.